Hi, this is Mr. Salemi with a quick video on the difference between parentheses and curly braces. So imagine that we have a table like this one, and we want to correlate whether these grades correlate with these MCAS scores, which by the way, they shouldn't because these are all random numbers. So how do we do that? Well, we have the correlation coefficient function. When we go to use that, we say correlation coefficient students, all rows, columns 2 and 3, and we get an error. It didn't work. We use parentheses here. It does work if we use curly braces. So, and by the way, there is no correlation because these are random numbers. But back to the curly braces. The curly braces work, the parentheses didn't, and you gotta wonder why. So we see that parentheses return the same data type as the matrix or other data structure that they're referencing. So for example, here we have a matrix that's 3 by 3 with some random numbers in it. It's a double. And also we see that it's when we say, give me matrix 3 by 3, rows 1 to 2, columns 1 to 2, we get back a 2 by 2, which is also a double. So it's the same type. Now, if we have a table and we say, okay, here's a table of students, and we say, give me the students, columns 2 by 3, all rows, we get back a table. We don't get back the data. We get back the same type that we started with. That's what parentheses do. So a table returns a table. If we have a cell array, which we discuss in another lecture, we have here names and same numbers, but now stored as cells, each one being their own matrix. And we say, give me cell array, all rows 2 by 3, we get back a cell array with the correct numbers, but still it's not a matrix, it's a cell array. So that's a big difference. So when we said students all rows 2 by 3 and we tried to put that into correlation coefficient, well, we get this error that says that it doesn't work because this function doesn't work with a table, it works with a matrix. In fact, most functions work with matrices. But the curly braces will return it as a matrix. Now, you can't use curly braces on a matrix because parentheses already work for matrices. So the curly braces are really for data types that are containing other data types, but matrices just return matrices. So here we see that we have our students in a table. When we do students curly braces, all rows 2 by 3, we get back the matrix that we expect. And when we do our cell array, again 2 by 3, we actually get back a bunch of numbers with the commas between them, or a bunch of answers, as you see here. And so that's a little bit tricky, so we'll take a look at that. When we look at matrices from cell array results, we say, like here, cell array, all rows, second and third column, and we get answer, 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 answer. That's really the same as giving me all those numbers with commas between them. And so one way to deal with them is to not try to read it directly, but to say, use this cellmat function to convert a cell to matrix, cell to mat function. So cell to mat, cell array, all rows, columns 2 and 3 returns the matrix we'd expect. So that's one simple way of handling it. If you want to see what cell to mat is doing, think of it with reshape. So we say, again, give me cell array, all rows 2 and 3, and we get back a comma separated list. Between square brackets, that gives us an array, and then we can reshape that array to get the shape we want. Or we can do it all at once in one shot, calling cell array with the square brackets in reshape with the shape we want, gives us what we want. And remember to be careful with types. Here we have the students. We ask for students, all rows 2 and all rows with columns 1 and 2, name and grade, and you see these are all got converted to strings because we return a matrix, and matrix all has to be the same type. So that's what happens there. And also, if you have a set of character arrays, as we discuss in another lecture, and they're different lengths, then they can't be concatenated together. So if you try to do cell to mat on these, you get an error because you can't have a matrix with one row that has 5 elements and the next row has 3 elements. And again, that's covered more carefully in the character array lecture. So cell to mat cannot make that work. In summary, parentheses return the same type as the data structure they index. When you index a table with parentheses, you'll get a table. When you index a cell array with parentheses, you get a cell array. Curly braces return the data that's in the table as a matrix. So you can use the curly brace information to go into functions.